Hey guys, I'm Coach Andy here at Louisiana Gridiron Football. We are excited about the Randall Corner. We have Marcus and Eric Randall here. So our new show we're going to start this week. We'll carry on throughout the football season. It's the Randall Corner brought to you by Louisiana Gridiron Football. I can't be more excited about this thing, guys. I mean, I think it's going to be a good show. We have some college football in the state. Thank God we got football back, right guys?
Yes, indeed.
We got two great guests, Corey Brownfield, head coach for Capital Lions, and head coach for Belaire football. So we got some great guests here. We got some great football to talk about. Maybe? I don't know.
Yeah.
A lot to talk about tonight, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and keep sharing this thing out, and if you're online, go ahead and share it out. Go ahead and share it out as well. Let's get everybody on watching some football. While we do that, I'm going to play a quick video. Very quick. Hang on. Leanne, did you mute the TV?
No, I did not.
Okay, we're not going to play the video. All right, so let's get started with college football. So let's start with ULM. ULM plays their first game this week. They got Army this week. Army's already played one game. They're 1-0, I think it is.
Yeah.
ULM, Matt Victor, they've got a good program up there. It's steadily getting better. Before he took over, it was 0 and everything. But Matt Victor, he came over from McNeese State, and now he's building that program up at ULM. Staying up on North Louisiana, we got Louisiana Tech. I love Louisiana Tech. I don't know if you guys have ever been up there. I know your offensive coordinator played up there for a little while, and I know you played at Grambling, played against Grambling up there a couple of times, but great part of the state. Louisiana Tech actually has the longest winning streak in current FBS with the most bowl game wins. They've won 6 consecutive bowl games, and not against Chubbs. I mean, not against some easy pushover teams. Last year, let me pull this up real quick. I got my notes. I forget they played against Miami, Florida last year. Won the bowl game 14-0 against Miami.
Yeah, University of Miami. That's it.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the first year they went to the bowl game, they beat Illinois, another Big Ten team. So they're playing big time programs. So that 6-game winning streak, that's a big deal up there.
And as you talk about the Louisiana teams, the college teams that is, over the last year or so, maybe 2 or 3 years, all of the Louisiana teams been doing pretty good, all the way from the FCS schools all the way up to our LSU. So if you look at the ULL, you look at the Nickel States, you look at the Northwestern, you look at Southern, Brown. I mean, all of those schools have pretty much held their own weight. I think that says a lot about our state and the athletes that we're putting out in our state, that we're putting out not just at the big colleges, but all of the colleges scattered all the way through.
Well, a good friend of all of ours, Corey Miller, says this is a hotbed for football, nationwide. But I can't agree more. I mean, you got every team last year that went to the postseason won in the state of Louisiana. No other state could say that. No other state could say they got at least one player in the NFL from every college football program. From ULM to Southeastern, even Louisiana College, the state's only D3 program, has a guy in the NFL. Starting right guard for the Arizona Cardinals comes from Louisiana College. Right. So every school, Southeastern went to the second round last year in the playoffs. Nickel State went to the second round in the playoffs last year. You have UL won their bowl game. Tulane won a bowl game. Tulane won against I'm going to say it this minute, I think it was I got it wrote down here. Southern Miss. You've got UL won their bowl game against Miami, Ohio. Bulldogs won against Miami, Florida. And then you know what LSU did last year, going undefeated, winning the SEC, winning the national championship. So this is a hotbed for football in the state, in the nation. So yeah, I mean it's a great time to be a Louisiana football guy.
Yeah. Right, and it speaks volumes on not only just when you look at the 2 coaches we have here tonight, you look all across Louisiana, not only the head coaches, but the assistant coaches. They're doing a fabulous job. A lot of those guys play ball in state, and they're going back into their communities. One thing we don't talk about, Andy and guys, we don't talk about the Little League programs enough. Those guys, even if you're not coaching at the high school level, those guys come back and they go off and work in the plant situation, and they go back and put their time with in the community with the Little League program. And that's where you make your most gains at. But
but they're doing great things in the state of Louisiana. You can come down here and get whatever you're looking for, lineman, looking for a speedy guy, looking for a big linebacker that can run. You look across the board. So we have it all here in Louisiana, but it just speaks volumes about the people that are here, that are coaching these young folks.
Right, I will say this, the quality of coaching over the years have gotten much better. It's like guys like you that have trained these guys, both of them, both our guests were assistants under you at one point.
They taught me.
A fun fact real quick, I found this out real quick. I found this out today, Coach, and I'm gonna mention this real quick. Corey told me about the fun fact you got. But I know, do you know who your first guy you got in college was?
Cool.
Corey.
That's right, Corey.
So, I learned,
Yeah.
he told me
We had two guys
that.
that year. We had two guys, but Corey was certainly one of those guys. He was a basketball guy, as a matter of fact, at Southern Avenue. I coached both of these guys at Southern Avenue. Great guys and great husbands, a father figure. So, and that's what you preach all the time, life after this game. Because the air is going out eventually. I don't care if you play 10 years in the NFL, it's going out. There's something you're going to have to engage in afterwards. Like you say on the NC2A commercial, most of us are going pro in something else besides our sport. So and I think that concept is getting across. I think the NC2A understands that as well because, you got the 60, 80, the 40, 60, 80 rule. By the time you head into your senior year, you should be on track to finish school. And I know I saw that when you went to school and Nick Saban came down, it was a must that all his kids finish up school because it meant something, life after. And I think they're benefiting from that right now.
Well, it says a lot. Even guys like Shaquille O'Neal got his doctorate degree now. You got guys going back and getting their degrees left and right, because they didn't miss that opportunity while they was in college. So yeah. Getting back to the college real quick, let's go to UL. University of Louisiana. They're ranked for the first time ever, guys. First time ever. They beat number 23 Iowa State for week 1. First time to ever beat a ranked team. A lot of big things happen. Billy Napier over at UL, they're building a big program over there. All right, I'm gonna give you guys a little insight on that team over there. So you guys know Jabbar Jaluk is their assistant head coach.
Right, yeah.
You guys all know him, right?
Right.
He's recruiting a lot of Louisiana guys.
Right.
So you're gonna start seeing a lot of stuff, big stuff out of UL because who are they recruiting? Louisiana guys.
Right.
You don't have to leave the state to find the best talent in the nation. You got guys coming in. I think last year had signed 19 Louisiana players from last year's class. The year before that, I think it was like 18, 19 players again. So they're building a big time program over there from just Louisiana guys. And then Ron Roberts last year, he's leaving going to Baylor, and then bringing in PT Patrick Thomas, and me and him coached together at Southeastern. So he knows the Ron Roberts system very well, a 33 stack. So I think UL watch out this next couple of years.
Great facilities. Go ahead.
Yeah,
they
Belaire, Levi Lewis over there, one of the guys.
Yeah, he's one of your quarterbacks.
That we preached on, that we saw that he had that talent, back in high school. You talked about Jabbar Jaluk. I watched him play. Actually, my brother teammate at Southern. They won Black National
That's
Championship.
kind of why I mentioned
Right.
that.
But so when you start bringing in people that have championship pedigree, players and coaches, when we start putting that together, like you say, and they bringing that Louisiana home cooking in there, teams. People just seem to play more hungry when you playing. When you got a crowd behind you, you playing for something that you have pride in, which most people that come from Louisiana do have that pride in it. So you're gonna keep seeing games as long as they keep that same recipe of the recruiting and bringing those types of coaches and players in. You're gonna continue to see those wins.
And if you've been to a UNL game, it's very exciting. You look at the pageantry from the time they get the recruits in, that opportunity to go down and look at the way they bring in the recruits, look at the facilities, indoor, outdoor facilities, they have the camps that are going on, but the pageantry, when they come out of that tunnel with that smoke. If you've ever been in that tunnel. So, you look at facilities as well. They are on the cutting edge. They have everything those kids need there to be successful on and off the field. The compliance office is second to none. They're doing the right thing. So again, you can get those kids in because those kids are going to be your ambassadors for your program. Go to ULL. They're going to take care of you. They're going to see that you do the right things. They're going to make sure you're eating properly. You're going to get the right nutrition. So those are some of the things that our young kids are looking for when they leave from a high school program and to be successful, to fulfill their dreams.
I've talked to a lot of guys over the years, and they all talk about how great LSU is, and I can't agree more. But LSU's got some great stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But you look at La Tech and UL, those two programs have got some of the best facilities. They got, I fix the two lane, but yeah, they all got great fields, and the beautiful fields. Tulane, not Tulane, La Tech just put in, I think, a $25 million or $30 million, weight room. I mean, they upgraded everything. Same thing at UL just put in a brand new football facility over there.
Right.
I went over there and took a tour of that. They were so proud of it whenever I went over and saw it last year, and it was just, it was something. I think, I think it was better than LSU at the time. Now LSU's upgraded, obviously.
They're sleeping in pods over there.
So we got Tulane next. So, like you mentioned, Tulane got some
Yeah.
has got a lot of great stuff. They brought the field back. Now they got a field on campus now.
Right.
Actually they won their bowl game. Willie Fritz has brought that program up. For a long time, ever since the '99 season, Tulane became a laughing stock when they lost Rich Rodriguez and all those guys. Rich Rodriguez went off to West Virginia and won all those games.
Right.
They should have kept him personally.
Right.
But for a long time, they became a laughing stock in Louisiana because they couldn't win a ball game. And then they bring in Willie Fritz. Willie Fritz turns that program around. He's got winning. He's bringing Louisiana guys in. He's got Louisiana talent over there, and he's winning ball games. So they won their ball game. They won their ball game last year against Southern Miss. They're currently undefeated. Right now in this season, and I look for big things for them as well.
And their weight program is second to none. The things that they're doing down there with that sports program, and they incorporating that into what they're doing with the kids in terms of monitoring them. But their weight room facilities and that staff that they have in there, they're really doing a good job. You can see it on the field. They're able to hold their own and play for 60 minutes.
Oh yeah. I mean, no matter what team they played last year, we had Dan Martin down there last year, and every game he said they was in that ball game. Even the ones they lost, they didn't lose by much. They lost by a field goal or less. So they were in every game. I think they played Auburn last year, and so they were in those ball games. They played, they competed. So let's get on to the big school now. Everybody's got an opinion about what happened last week. I'm gonna go ahead and start with Mr. Miracle over here. So what was your thoughts on this?
Just seeing the game, let me just go ahead and say this. I mean, it's not the same as a regular season for one thing. I mean, and seeing the game, it looked more so on a scrimmage level, and I think that played a big part in some of the things that we saw last Saturday. And I'm watching it from TV now, and I can hear every call that's being made. I can hear the coaches coaching from the sideline. So it almost took away the whole home field advantage. There was a couple times in that game where I know that the fans would have got involved and would have made a big difference in that game, especially when we got those 2 turnovers after the center snapped it to the quarterback when he wasn't looking, and we recovered it, and we got that fumble. And then when we had the interception late in the game, in the third quarter, cornerback caught the interception, number 1. And normally those are the things that normally get us sparked up. And I still thought it was, and just watching, I think we was around 34, 31 or 34. So I thought we would still pull it off at the end, because that's what we normally do around that time, especially at home. But I just think that the field and, like I said, the home field advantage and the thing that we've taken advantage of by playing in Death Valley just wasn't there.
Well, speaking of that home field advantage, I remember whenever I interned for Sam Nader, so when I was on the sidelines, you just feel the electricity in that field. I mean, I know you know it as well. We all been there, we all watched games in there, but when you're on the sidelines and that crowd gets to go in there. I remember we played South Carolina that year, and that second half of the game, the third quarter, it got loud in that stadium. Hair when you get warm, just stand straight up on the sidelines, just to get the chills,
Right.
So yeah, you're right. That home field advantage. I also think if Derek Stingley had been in the game, I think it would have been a much different turnout as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I mean,
you can't help somebody getting sick the night
never
before.
know. I mean, I know that through a loop. I mean, because you didn't already put your whole game plan in for the whole week, and probably for the whole 2 weeks, you probably had already had your game plan in for both lanes. I think Mississippi State had the perfect storm come in. Like I say, one, it not being Death Valley like it normally be. The COVID kind of almost puts everybody in an even playing field now, because nobody had spring. Everybody kind of been sitting back on their hands, kind of doing a little work, but kind of not knowing if we were gonna play, and then now finally getting to play and going out. Those jitters that you normally be able to get out early or in the spring. A lot of those guys were first-time players. I think we were 17 starters from last year almost. Wasn't in the game, so you got new guys in there playing for the first time. And now you got a quarterback that's playing behind a inexperienced line. So you have a lot of different things that went on that, you know, obviously caused what happened on Saturday to happen. And you just gotta go back to the drawing board and fix some of those things. But you got to see a lot of people on tape.
Right.
And now you can go back as a defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, and fix some of those things and implement some of those other things that's gonna help us along the way.
You know, you and Eric are quarterback gurus, you know. Eric's our Hall of Fame quarterback, so, I wanna ask you guys this. You know, Miles Brennan's been under the spotlight this last since Saturday night. What do you guys think?
Like I said, I mean, we still put up 30-some points. I mean, normally if you put up 30-some points, you win the game. And that's just what it is. I think last year, I think we got a little spark. We were able to put up a little bit more than 30 a game. But again, we had experience. We had obviously we had the number one receiver in the nation playing at that time. So I mean,
And number two receiver in the
the
nation.
number two receiver in the nation. You had the best offensive line in front of you. You had, I mean, you see what Clyde Eli is doing even in the NFL now. So you had all those guys out there, and I think people's expectation is still high because that's just where we set the bar at LSU. But I mean, you know, just thinking realistically, I mean, you know, things can happen like this. So now, you know, those guys have to hone in, and the coaching staff have to do a great job now of blocking out the noise, blocking out the distractions, because there's gonna be a lot of that now. Because what everybody used to 15-0. So.
What about you, Eric?
Well, I think that they'll bounce back. I mean, you have so many inexperienced guys that are out there on the field trying to get the chemistry together, trying to work in, and coaches, Bo Pelini is new here. But, you know, I look at the things, are they fixable? And how can you improve from 1 week to the next week? That's the way I measure. I mean, of course, we wanted them to win on Saturday. But I think we can fix that going into Vanderbilt this weekend. And you'll be able to get back on track. You can slow down a little bit. Brendan's gotten his feet wet. We had a ton of backs run the football. I thought we threw the ball for over 300 yards. So they'll bounce back. The receivers dropped some passes. I thought they could have helped out the quarterback some, and because they're great receivers. But I think they all had some things that they had to prove. And this thing about next guy up, it's really next guy up. I mean, he has to get his feet wet. He has to get, you know, in the flow of the game. And I think that'll happen here. So I think that'll happen this weekend.
So what do you guys think about this theory about, you know, this could have been the best thing to happen to LSU? You know, that you get the first knot on your head for the year, you get knocked back down a notch, and you have something to work for the rest of the year, because it's still one-loss SEC team is gonna make the playoffs.
Well, I'll tell you what, the coaches have their full attention this week. I can guarantee you that.
That's
You know, that's a good thing. So if you had any of that cockiness or this is just Mississippi State, then that's out the window now. I mean, you know, as a coach, sometimes you don't like to lose games, but you can show enough real guys back in. But I don't think that's the case. But if it is for some guys, they have their full attention now.
All right, so what's your predictions for this week, guys?
Just LSU or all of them?
LSU.
Okay. Oh, man. They beat them by 4 touchdowns.
4 touchdowns?
28.
What about you, Coach? Wade?
I think LSU will bounce back. I think cohesiveness. You know, they lost maybe 18 players to the draft. So with new guys coming in, expected to just immediately step in and produce. Got the knot on the head. Now it's time to go full throttle.
You think they bounce back this week?
Oh, most definitely.
Coach Corey?
Well, we got the loss early, so like coach said, that's behind us. Now we can look at focusing on the future and the rest of the season and game by game. I think it's a very good learning experience for the coaches and the players who have the mindset of next man up. Now we have you on film, so the small things that were mistakes, we can fix those things and get back to playing type of football. I think LSU is gonna be just fine. It's not often you lose that many kids to the draft and expect to come back and have national championship aspirations, but I still believe the Tigers can do it. Is have to bounce back and gel together, as Coach said, and just lineman assignment. Know your keys, know what your responsibilities are, get better at that. Some of those guys look like the speed of the game was a little off, and they're gonna adjust to that, and they're gonna be just fine.
Coach? Oh, you think you're gonna win this game?
Definitely, at least 3 to 4 touchdowns.
All right, Coach Randall.
Yeah, same deal. I believe that they'll definitely bounce back with a victory on Saturday. But the main thing I'll be looking for, other than just the W, is can we fix some of those things that we saw last week? And And I think those things, like we said earlier, are fixable. I think the coaches kind of know who we are now. We're not last year's team. I know those are some of the things you can find out early in the season. What's our identity? What's going to be our identity this year? We can't really bank on last year's identity because that was last year's team. Every year it's a new team. And you're trying to find those things and you're trying to pinpoint those things early. Normally, like we said earlier, you would have a spring to kind of see a lot of that, to evaluate a lot of those things. We didn't have that. We had a whole change of schedule. We normally get what, two, normally our first games, unless we got the team and we scheduled, but normally our first game was kind of warm-up games, to try to get some of those guys ready, get in a good flow. So now we playing SEC team at the SEC team this year. So, but I definitely think we'll bounce back. I think the coaches will fix some things that we saw in there from last weekend. We're gonna be back to rolling.
But definitely, I didn't think Mississippi State would win the game at all. No way possible you could have told me that.
All the goals are still intact, though. I mean, you control your destiny. You lost it. You made a good point. You lose a game early on, you can get back into the national championship in any year, even with this year being the way it is. You still control your destiny. That's all you can ask. And I'm sure that's what Coach O. And one thing I like about Coach O, he took all of the pressure off of his guys. He said, "Put it on me." He didn't say I'm an $8 million man, but I mean that's the way it came across to me. I'm an $8 million man. Put all the pressure on me, and that loosen your kids up, especially your young guys that's coming out there. All their goals are still intact. They control their own destiny.
There it is. Get on some high school football here. I know you guys are ready to talk about some high school.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna mix things up, Brandon and Marcus. I'm gonna start off with my head coach, Corey. Tell us how the Capital Lions are doing, Corey.
Well, we're doing really, really good. Really proud of my team, young team, maybe 4 seniors, 5 seniors, but they're stepping up to the plate. One thing about kids from our area, they're not gonna back down. They're just not gonna submit. And once they bought into what I was selling and what the staff was selling, it just kind of naturally clicked. I have a very aggressive fire personality, but I'm also kind of observant sometimes. And I think they're taking on that aggressive strike when it's time to strike type atmosphere. We went to the Opelousas game, and honestly, I was there to play the game and coach the team and make sure we did the best we could do. But it's just they found that energy, as we talked about, with maybe not stands being in Tiger Stadium. They found that hidden energy. I guess it could be from COVID or not playing in a while, but they were on fire. I mean, I gotta say, I was very proud of my guys. I think I have a group that's not used to being praised. They're used to being told they can't be this and they can't be that. But my philosophy from the coaches I've had in my life and the motivators, it's about motivating them and showing them they can achieve all their goals. So I think it's just what we bring to this table as far as the staff that we have. We just all championship coaches. Most coaches been around football their whole life, or either played college football, won national championships, and just the kids are just. I guess to take on the personality of the coach. The coaches are very calm and just ready to get it done. And it was all business on Friday with Opelousas. And I was just very proud of my kids from start to finish. They executed. They got better as each series went on. It was just an amazing feeling to see them play together like that.
Who's some of your star players, Coach?
Kobe Bell is probably the best player in the state, probably the top 20 in the nation. I couldn't believe this kid I have to keep speaking on the speed because I've never seen speed like this in my coaching tenure. When we run the sprints, he lines up, first to start off, he would line up 5 yards behind the players, and he would catch him by the time we get to 40 yards or 60 yards. Then we lined him up 10 yards, and he could still beat everyone in running on the sprints, and I couldn't believe that. Last time I saw that was with Alabama, and I watched them run their 110s in the summertime for last year. And Devontae Smith, he had that same type of separation ability where he could just take off after the team started, and he would catch them all and pass them up. And this kid just has a unique talent that's kind of never been seen. I've coached a lot of good players, but his drive, discipline, dedication, determination, as well as just being a flat-out baller, I mean, I've never seen anything like it. We line him up at quarterback, wide receiver. He scored at every level of the game, from throwing to running. To catching a touchdown. On the offense side of the ball, nothing more we could do with him. Now we moved him on defense to play not just free safety but corner. He's been graded out as SEC starter corner one day for various schools. So I'm just very proud of him in that aspect. I got to highlight his accomplishments because there's nowhere a kid this talented is just not known about in the city, like or the state or in America. He's a very talented kid, and I'll stack him up against anyone. Another kid we have, Cedric Brown. He's about 6'2", 6'3", 230 pound linebacker. Transferred from Zachary, has 2 state championships, and just that awareness of being there before. I've done this before. He set out last year, complete calendar year, so he had to watch a lot of football last year. So him just getting in, you just saw that hunger, you just saw that tenacity of just being around the ball and flying to the ball, and I think that just spread it to the team, around to the team, and I think we just keep using those type of things to keep going. We're gonna be great. We got another senior, Ramel Jones, who's a senior guy, already qualified, a real good academic kid, but also 6'1", 6'2", plays a corner receiver to play in the skill position that we have. Just to highlight those 3 seniors, I just want to say they've done a great job for our program.
Well, I want to see something about Jacoby real quick, and that is he was an all-state selection last year at 27 touchdowns, 9 pick sixes. Phenomenal athlete. It's a pleasure to watch that young man every day at practice. But yeah, 3 great guys on our Capital. Coach Wade, what about you at Belaire? How's your program going?
Every day is a work in progress. Really trying to get them to buy into the culture of hard work. It's a challenge to come in the summertime, dealing with a pandemic, never actually walking the campus with kids there, but we can't make excuses. We have to overcome the adversity. What I've been telling my kids is winning isn't defined by the score on the scoreboard. It's about, developing, finding out where you are, who you are, and just gradual progression to rapid progression. Having good coaches around. I believe, showing kids love is what's gonna make them trust you, and then they'll be willing to run through a wall for you. So we are a work in progress. We have Central on Thursday, a 5-day program, but we don't set the bar low. So expectations are very high. What I learned from this guy on the right of me is always make the conditions tough. If you can drive in a thunderstorm, when it's sunshine, you'll have no problems. So we're not setting the bar low. We don't have low expectations, but I'm meeting them where they are. They've won 5 games in the past 3 years. So think about what it does for team morale. A lot of negativity, a lot of pessimism. So I'm not really focused on trying to be too extensive. Keeping things vanilla, making sure they understand the basics. We're continuing to develop, learn to watch film. The weight room, that's a challenge. We can't even go to school physically, so how can we do all the things necessary to have success against every other school, in the state? So we are on the right track. I'm very excited. I have about 5 seniors. We're very junior heavy, and we've had a lot of transfers that came in. So some of those guys won't be eligible, but they're fully bought in. They're in practice every day. They know that they're on the scout team, and we're not expecting things to happen overnight. In the future, the day you plant the seed is not the day you're gonna eat that fruit. So right now we're just labor, work, compete. Don't stand down. You put your pants on one leg at a time, just like anybody else. So I'm really just pouring those types of things into my kids, getting them to take on a family mindset. We're not gonna always agree. We're not gonna always get along, but we're gonna stick together. We're gonna be ambassadors on campus. What is an ambassador? A leader. How do you lead? These things have to be taught. What's the situation of each child at home? We don't know, but that's my job to find out. And whatever situation they're dealing with, again, meeting them where they are and trying to be that extended father figure to let them know I'm not just a coach on the field. I'm a mentor off the field, and I got your back. And I believe, really pouring into a child and getting them to see things from a different perspective, and even relating to them will get them to run through a wall for you. So I'm expecting us to compete this year. Of course, the next 2 years, the schedule's gonna change a little bit. So we're gonna balance it out. We're not just gonna play cupcake, but we are gonna put ourselves in a position to succeed because they hadn't been to the playoffs in 15 years. When I came to Baker, we hadn't been to the playoffs in 12 years. We didn't get there that first year. But the second, third, and fourth year, first round, second round, third round. So it won't happen overnight, but I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Well, you and Corey both were named head coaches in, I think it was in July. And so what have been some of the challenges you guys had to overcome with your programs? You're dealing with COVID, you're dealing with trying to find the right coaching staff, you're trying to put everything together, trying to glue everything together. Typically it's done in December, January timeframe. You guys are trying to do that in July. You have no 7-on-7s, no camps, no real program, no way to get out there and get your kids seen. And then all of a sudden, you throw in the mix of COVID, where you don't know if you're on a football team. You don't know if you're gonna have a schedule. And then you're phase two, and then, oh, we're gonna have football. So you gotta get ready to get game week, And then you get your game, you get everything set up, and then here we are. So what are some of the challenges you guys have to face and have overcome? You're just right off the bat.
Plenty of challenges. Virtual school, not having the kids physically there. How do they get to practice? What time can they all arrive at practice? So it takes major sacrifice, 15-hour days and nights. After I leave here, I gotta go to the school, watch some film, do some paperwork. So the challenge is, it's an abundance of challenges. But we gotta let these kids know that this is an example of things that happen in life. And you gotta play the card. You can't throw the hand back in when it's dealt to you. Central will not feel sorry for us Thursday. We're not gonna feel sorry for ourselves.
Oh, we're not gonna feel sorry for y'all.
But guess what? At the end of the night, we'll shake hands as good sports, and they will respect us.
She's from Central.
Yeah, I see that.
Won't be shaking hands.
Well, yeah, we'll
look at the album.
The album, but the challenges for me personally have been, I've never touched the campus with kids on the hallway, ever. So me having to go through the extra leg work to find kids. How can you build a genuine relationship with a child that does not know you? You don't really know them, the parents don't really know you. And then the challenges of how do their parents feel about them being in the vicinity of other people with coronavirus. I've been very fortunate. The relationships that I've built over the years, has really preceded me, whereas lots of parents, lots of, like you said, little league coaches, just promoted me very hard, where I was able to grow the numbers. Last year, we had 27 players dress out. And I say we, but I wasn't there. They had 27 players, so now we're at 42. Once we touch that campus, we're gonna get to 52. But again, we're not feeling sorry for ourselves. We're not making any excuses, and it's just overcoming adversity. I had a kid transfer from Madison Prep. He was coming to play strong safety linebacker. I noticed that he had the strongest arm. I was feeling a little pressure because I'm like, I don't have the type of quarterback I need to execute. Man, this kid has been a workaholic. His dad played quarterback, that's pressure on him, but an opportunity presented itself. And his mom and dad told me he's at home every night watching YouTube, watching mechanics of quarterbacks, and he just surprised me. He ain't where he could be to reach his full potential, but I'm satisfied with where he is. And I think that's contagious on our team because we have a bunch of humble guys that have been overlooked. I tell them all the time, God has grace and he blesses you with a second chance. But what are you gonna do with it? So I'm big on motivating, using psychology, play a little mind games to get the end result to be successful for them. Like I said, it ain't about the end result of the score. It's about what happens post-graduation. Are we going to college? Are we going to trade school? Those are the things that are much more important than wins and losses. The air will go out the ball one day, whether you're Jerry Rice or Jerry Lewis. So trying to get them to understand that at an early age are things that will really be beneficial, to the kids. So won't be an overnight process at Belaire, but it definitely will be a gradual progression, season by season, and we have high goals set in place. I strive to push them for perfection. I tell them every day, who's perfect, coach? Nobody. That's what the response I give. But if I push you there, you'll be pretty close, in the end. So.
What about you, Corey?
Well, it's I guess when you got guys in your corner that's kind of been there before, or they're currently, or have experience in it, I think that helps out, and it takes a lot of burden. We both fortunately we had the opportunity to play for Eric Randall and learn from Eric Randall. So he was speaking about overcoming adversity all the time. I think I just applied that to my whole entire life. Whatever negatives will come, I would find a solution. Whatever somebody would say I couldn't do, I remember those challenging times Coach would tell me sitting on his front porch of the different adversities that he would face, and I just would apply that to my own life and my own different scenarios. So walking into the situation, I was not blind. I know Capital came from had a very good year last year under their former coach, and I just wanted to come in and use my research. So I've been leaning on Coach Randall here about how to deal with certain kids here, leaning on this coach around here about Zoom and how he's organizing different things, about how to meet with the kids, how to get the most out of the kids, being able to can't physically touch them. So I've been using my resources on my coaching tree, even with calling Coach Wade. All these guys up here, even you, I talk to them at least 3 times a week. So just using the resources to make sure the kids don't go without. If he's bumped his head in something, he's bumped his head on something in the sport, why should I bump mine? If we could just talk about it and I could just overcome that situation for the kids. So I think situations like that, we just call and ask them about how did you handle this or how did you handle that. I think that helped out with me being able to prepare my kids and have them ready. Just with getting the kids there with the transportation issues, especially in the community we serve, where kids mostly don't have rides sometimes, overcoming those issues, overcoming getting numbers there. As you know, Coach, we had about 9-10 guys show up the whole summer. We'd get 20 guys and we'll go excited, but those guys would show up the next day. So it was consistent about building different protocols and procedures to get that consistent buy-in. Like bringing in a coach like you who could show the kids different rings and show them that you're over this great company that gets kids to college. I think in my community, we definitely needed to see that aspect that they can go to college. I don't think Cal sent a kid to a major college in the last 8 years. So graduating our seniors and making sure they become productive citizens, that's something we learned upon the coach. This game is going to end, and as we go out the ball, so you got to be prepared for those next steps. And that's one thing I just always pride myself on, being one step ahead of that. So I want my kids to be one step ahead of that. So they're practicing focusing on ACT prep. I don't know what's going to happen with the ACT, but they're focusing on that. They're focusing on qualifying. All the kids are logging in consistently. You can't control the things like the coach, but what you can control is your grades. So we're going to take care of those grades while all these other things are going on. We're going to take care of the things we can control. So when it's time to qualify, you know what it takes to qualify. And I think the problem in the past, we didn't look at the necessary steps to what it takes to be a college qualifier. What does it take to go to Virginia Tech, Florida State, LSU? What are the mission requirements to get in these schools? I think that starts in 9th grade. So when you're hitting them with the 9th grade ACT, this is what it takes. You have charts on the wall to say, okay, this is your GPA, this is the ACT score you have to make. I think all those things put things in perspective to let the kids know, okay, I'm not arguing with you, I'm with you, but this is your task. This is what we fight against. You going to class and being the best you can be, so we can get you where you need to go in life. So just just being humble at the same time, but also being prepared and ready for the situation. I think just having great guys in my corner, as well as being confident about my craft and my ability, I think that's helped as well. But also having a strong administration that's really backing football and the growth and the redevelopment of our team. We want to consistently send kids to college from Capital across the state over and over and over again. Small things we've done with getting new contracts on uniforms and bringing back, making sure they have the gold trophy, shiny helmets and things like that. Just different small things that we were sending out throughout the summer through the group takes and group meet to motivate the kids to come back to school. Some schools didn't have that issue of trying to pull the kids back to school. And at one point we got them out there, and then they stopped coming back because, you know, the COVID announcements that were going on. So it's been up and down battles, but and just seeing that Opelousas game, just seeing how they came out, it showed me that no matter what, this program's heading in the right direction.
And speaking of uniforms, you're the only team in Baton Rouge right now sponsored by Battle.
Yeah, we're the only battle team in Louisiana, but, you know, as I said, I come from a big coaching tree, so I hope to pass that to my brothers at some point to make sure there's multiple teams that have that opportunity. As you know, the battle circuit and things that's going on with battle. It's helping a lot of kids get in college, and just the circles that they run. I was fortunate enough to bring Coach Wade in with me, and we ran our battle program together this summer. And honestly, his team was the team that actually was playing in the game when we obtained the battle sponsorship. So you just always keep good people around you, you know, keep people that come from the same tree, the same pedigree, and just the same like-mindedness about just being great in life and being successful. And as Coach Randall has been all of our life, it's not an arrogance, it's just a belief that you've seen it done before and you can do it as well. So I think that's where we are at Capital. We just keep bringing in the right people to show the kids what they can accomplish and become in life.
Well, this is a little bit different situation for you. This is your second year at Woodlawn.
Correct.
You know, you went into a hornet's nest last year. Now you got a chance to set back, grade your players out, get the guys ready. So what's the status of Woodlawn going on right now?
Right. Man, we still face some of those same challenges right now. I think every program has faced those, no matter what level you're on, whether from the league all the way up to the NFL. I mean, this COVID thing threw us all for a loop. We've been kind of waiting to see how it was going to go. We first got the word in March, thinking it was going to be a 2-week or a month thing, and then it kept going on. So it moved into the spring. So we ended up missing the spring. So I had a lot of guys that played as young guys last year, freshmen and sophomores, that I definitely wanted to have a chance to see in the spring, to get film on them, but watch those guys go to summer camps and get evaluated and be able to, like you say, reach their goals and the things they have and aspiration that they have of going to the next level. A lot of those things were obviously taken away due to the COVID and practices and all those things, having to deal with the the summer workouts, having to have the guys isolated in certain groups. So when you normally can go in maybe two hours in the summer, because you just have maybe 2 different weightlifting groups. Now you got to be there almost 4 or 5 hours because you got to wait for only this 25 to go. And then you got to kind of, move that 25 out so you can move somebody else in and maybe they can do other things. So it was a constant battle of having to keep putting different plans in place. Because every time we always came up with one, the next week it was something else put in place with another phase or another procedure coming from the government. And then you'll go another 2 weeks, and then you don't know when you're going to actually play. So a lot of the things where I was used to almost having that system or that plan or that, I guess you call it the game plan in place, knowing exactly when you want to start lifting heavy, when you want to start kind of, idling down on your lifts because you're getting closer to the season. But what kind of, being able to keep up with the strength that you was trying to keep up, and because you know that you normally starting with August. So a lot of those things that now you have to kind of play where people had it down almost to a science, because we knew pretty much where you're going to be every step of the way, depending on the year. A lot of those things got threw off. So being able to adjust, that's the thing that we do in this game. Make adjustments. Like you said earlier, unlike these 2 guys that's kind of coming in and trying to feel their way through during this bizarre time right now. I did have, all my kids. I did have, hands on my kids. I did, because I was there already when this COVID thing hit. We was already doing meetings online. We was already doing Zoom and team meetings. So I was able to keep my guys kind of together, even though the rest of the school was kind of on their own, doing online learning and all those different things. We were still being able to meet as a team and as individual groups, once or twice a week, being able to keep their interests and make sure that, everybody was doing the right thing to stay safe for one and staying in shape. So we was able to do a lot of those things throughout this whole COVID, and we was able to see it on last Thursday when we had our scrimmage game. Didn't have many muff snaps, some of the things that you would see early in the game that we just didn't have a lot of those things. So still got work to do, but I like where we are moving forward. We got Riverside this week at home. That should be a very exciting game for us. I'm looking forward to it.
So, I know, if I asked you, who's all your star players, I know we're gonna be here for a little while, so let's talk about some of the top ones, you know? Go ahead and talk about Ricky Collins real quick.
Okay, well, Ricky Collins, sophomore, still a young guy. He played last year as a freshman though, got a lot of game experience, played a 5A schedule. It's almost kind of unheard of when you start bringing guys in as freshmen to play the actual quarterback position and take pretty much all the snaps. He was able to do that. He took his lumps last year. He made mistakes, so that was to be expected. Coming into his sophomore year, still young. On my mind, you start talking 5A football, you don't, and quarterbacks, you don't normally see starters till junior, senior year. But I saw some of these same things back when we was at Scottsdale with Levi Lewis, when we had to play him as a 10th grader, and when we went on to win, big playoff games that year. So I'm looking for that same kind of thing with Ricky this year, basically being able to take in. I see a lot of leadership coming from him, from things that I've seen in practice and from the one scrimmage game that we had thus far. And I know he's going to continue to get better as the year goes on.
What about Leonard Harris?
Leonard Harris, a senior, defensive back. We also play him kind of down by the box. He's an explosive kid. He won the 300 hurdles as a sophomore, outdoor hurdles. Then last year, right before the COVID hit, he was running indoor track and he broke the 60-meter record at LSU. And this guy is just dominating, man. He's fast. He's always the fastest guy on the field, no matter who we playing. He will hit you. He don't mind hitting you and getting you up off your feet. And he's just a football player, man, all the way around. He just loves the game. He plays with a passion, and whether it's practice or a game, he's going 110.
You brought a defensive end. I'm not looking at his name right now. Brought a defensive end to our camp back in, was it February?
Correct.
Tell us about that young man.
Eddie Powell.
Yeah.
He actually came to us. He had to sit out last year. He came from Madison Prep. This year, he's anybody that came to the scrimmage game saw him. He had 4 or 5 tackles for loss. A few quarterback hurries, big hits on the quarterback. Those are some of the things that we expected from him. We weighed him in today. He's right at 6'4", 277. So he's a strong man on that defensive line, and we definitely looking for some big things from him this year.
Man. And I hear some good news about your running back. Josh was talking about him a little while ago. He one step and he's gone.
Right, and he probably talking about the
sophomore.
Our backup running back.
Right.
I started didn't play in the scrimmage game, but our backup running back came in. And I know I counted I know we really didn't keep stats, but I know we had 2 or 3 long runs. Well, 2 of them was for touchdown. About 3 runs, he ran for about 160 yards on those, and just those 3 runs. So, man, once he get out there in front, it just wasn't no catching. That's one thing I am impressed with this year is our team speed. Our team speed is high, unlike we were, a year ago. So, I'm looking for us to be able to use that team speed and be able to, get us blood all over the field.
All right. So, So if we had the bowl game this year, well, we are gonna have a bowl game, but who would be the guys you would want to see playing?
You're talking about from my team or just in general?
In general.
Like we said, that's going to be a tough pick. I think we started this show off just saying about so much talent that we have in here. Last year, our head coach won, winning head coach of the bowl game.
Who'd you play against? It was
The other team.
but I meant to ask you. You told me you were gonna do this. That trophy, it went to your mother's house, right?
That's where it is.
Okay.
Sitting up on sitting up on
Coach, you're gonna. I see those daggers coming at me, all right?
I'll tell my grandkids we won.
Or Randall won it, right?
Yeah, Randall won it. But yeah, so it's definitely going to be a hard pick this year. Looking at those guys, and we have guys all across the state, like we said, that are very talented. So we know it's going to be a good game, no matter who's in it. Because pretty much the talent level that's here. You can almost close your eyes, like just start pointing out guys. So we definitely.
Well, I know Coach Charles Scott. He's I talked to him right before the season started, and he's excited. I invited him to be the head coach this year.
Okay.
As one of the head coaches. We're looking for the other head coach. I was going to talk to you maybe pick your brain, so you might be a good second pickup.
Well, I do know Coach Andrews just got a new D-line coaching job this year, right? So you might want to pick that coach.
You're putting your name in the hat, huh, Coach?
Definitely won't put it in
Yeah,
there.
Yeah, I think both of these young guys had at least had a name in the hat. Yeah.
So, we've gotten a lot of emails from kids and coaches across the state, and there's some good talent out there, you know. Coach Justin Charles, the minority, he's got about 3 guys up there looking really good. You know, Coach Blank, Jonesboro Hodge has always got good kids up there. They always producing talent. James Taylor, but General Trask, he's a big salesman. You know, he's a car salesman when it comes to high school football. So I mean, my wife loves that guy. He wound up one night last year before the bowl game. It's 11 o'clock at night. I'm laying on the couch. I'm sitting there, me and my wife trying to relax, and I get a phone call. Hey, you want this kid in the game? Yeah, Coach. Hang on a second. I'm like, Coach, you get shot. So yeah, but.
Well, and I have a question. So who's all on you guys' schedule, Belaire? Let's go with you first, Wade. Who's all in your schedule for this year?
This year we have Central, our first game. Then we have St. John of Plaquemine, East Iberville, and then we go into district against Nostrum, who has one of the best running backs in the state. Yeah. I'm looking forward to Le'Veon Moss. I can tell my kids all the time, you want college exposure, college coaches will be there to see him, so will you show it? Our district, being in 4A, it's not as strong, on paper, as other districts within the city. We have Tara, we have Broadmoor. Teams we right on the same level, so I'm looking forward to it. A lot of new coaches, and this is our opportunity to turn the corner and shock the world.
What about you, Coach Brown?
We start off the season with A-League, great program, well-respected program, sent a lot of kids to college. That's some great things. We won to Lusher. Then we go to week 3 against my college teammate Marcus Yanez and Richwood Rams, who we're facing those guys. Then we move on to Episcopal. Dunham.
That's district.
Yeah, district. Episcopal, Dunham, Eastfield, Northeast. So we have a pretty competitive district. Dunham usually does a really good job in district, so we're gonna try to go compete this year.
Okay.
So we'll start off with Riverside and move into that second week. We got Livonia and then Donaldsonville. And after that, we start up district. We'll be going with Dutchtown, St. Amant, EA, Catholic High, and then McKinley. Like I said, that's that SEC East or that SEC West.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough district.
Yeah, we got some big ones, but definitely, I mean, we finished second to last year in this district, and I'm looking for us to turn the corner and be at the top of this thing when it's all said and done this year.
You know, like how teams, Coach Lee down at EA, he's put together a good program as well. And then you get face them, Catholic, obviously, they got a good program. So that's tough. That's not a tough schedule.
I'm like, oh, we coming. We coming. Mean that.
All right.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, good luck to all you guys, man. I'm gonna be out watching all you guys this year. I'm a free agent. I get to move around. Man, I can't even hang out with you, man.
I know. You gotta hang out with Josh.
Yeah, hang out with Josh. Yeah. Gotta call Josh and see where he's located. But I wish all y'all the best of luck. I really do.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll be on the sidelines as a cap. Well, I won't be on the sideline. I'll be in the box, Apparently, I'm too loud for the sidelines.
Yeah.
Oh, you need to see it.
Oh, you on the field?
Is he on the field?
He gonna be on the box.
Coach be on the field?
Yeah, he probably gonna be on the box on the field. We haven't decided yet, but I think Coach won't be on top.
Okay. Well, I wish y'all the best of luck, man. I really do. We'll come out and watch you, Wade, and Coach Brownfield. Gotta call you Coach Wade. Coach Wade. Yep. So I'm proud of you guys. I really am proud of you guys. I know you're gonna make a big difference in those kids' life. Just listening to you guys, if a parent was listening tonight, I think they'll be impressed with what what you're doing with your company, with Louisiana Gridiron Football Magazine, what you guys are doing with kids, because, you know, it's tough out there, and I'm not telling you nothing that you don't know. And we need more guys like you, and, you know, eat your Wheaties, and just keep showing up, man, because they need you. They need you, so I know y'all do a fine job.
But I just wanna say, man, our plan basically is, I know I talked to Corey, that's his plan, probably Wade the same. Our plan is basically do, you know, some of the same that we saw, man, I wanna build my coaching tree, like, and I you can coach tree, I wanna build my coaching tree, cause I know that's the way how we can keep reaching people. Teach one, reach one, and you just keep that same cycle going on. Even some of my players, like you coach D, I'm gonna be looking for, and we actually got one that's in waiting to be coaching right now. That's at Woodlawn, Reggie Cleveland, that we coached at Scholarville. Now he's at Woodlawn right now, working, waiting to be a coach over there. So that's the part I like. Is everything comes back full circle. So you had to see it as a player, learn, and you learn and get coached by some of the best, and then being able to be a coach, and then being able to give to your players and the other coaches, and that's the cycle that we're trying to bring and be able to have, and that's how we're gonna grow our city. That's how we're gonna make our state better. That's how we're gonna keep doing those things. And the more of us that go out and go and get that information and that education and bring it back and give it back, like you mentioned earlier, like what we've been able to do with a lot of the players in this area, is gonna continue to grow. It's gonna continue to get bigger, and our state gonna continue to be one of the best, especially from the football side of it, and hopefully from the people side of it.
You know, you guys can't talk about that, but that's what I got into coaching football 15 years ago. You know, I was active duty in the military. I was went through my first knee surgery, and I couldn't deploy, so obviously I had to stay home. But I got coached at Freeport High School in Freeport, Maine, little Class C. I mean, up here, I don't think we have a division that small, but you know, but up there we had on the roster we had 21 players on the roster, but on game day we had 12. You know, they would do grade checks Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock, and we'd have everybody ready to go. And at Friday at 3 o'clock, we'd show up to the locker room, and we only had 12 players eligible to play. So we never got called for too many players on the field, obviously. I was trying to make sure one guy's right there. So during the week, we kind of got inventive about how we did things. You know, you know, 5'6" or a size 12 shoe, you got offensive line. You know,
Right.
all you had to do is slow them down a little bit.
Right.
But you know, what I found out about it was that the love of the game goes a lot deeper than just loving the X's and O's. You know, I could talk football all day long, and my wife would say, people's eyes would glaze over, like they have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. And I'm sure you guys are all the same way, because we all think alike. But it's a lot deeper than that. You know, it's about watching these young men. For me, that first year, it was about watching the progression grow. You know, watching the kids learn, watch them progress from a boy to a man.
Yeah.
You know, because they learn how to control their body, how to control their emotions. You know, how to control everything about themselves. You know, it's the same as life. You know, every first day of football practice, and I know Corey can tell you this. I always tell my guys, you know, football is a game of life. You know, I coach defensive line. I love, you know, since I love coaching defensive line, where I can show the aggression. You know, so the football is a game of life. That offensive lineman, his job is to do one thing. That's to keep you back, knock you down. You know, and life is like that. That life is going to beat you down every single step. Every one of you guys talked about what's happened, you know, so far. How this has, you know, been hard. It's easy to throw and say, okay, I'm done. It's easy. That's the easy way out. And, you know, that's the easy thing. You know,
Yes, sir.
that's the average thing. The average person is going to say, I'm done. Yeah. You know, what makes you above average? What makes you that extra person to go that extra mile? You know. What's going to make you stand out amongst your peers? You know, what's going to make you stand out and go beyond? Because, I mean, if I go home, you know, 20 years later, this is my 20-year class union, if I go home, I know I've got guys doing the exact same thing they were doing 20 years ago. You know, you got people doing drugs just like they did in high school. You got people, you know, still doing whatever they want to do. You know, just like they did in high school, just like you guys all know the same stories. What makes you above average? You know, I could have been that person. My mother's a drug dealer, prostitute. You know, she was back then. So what do you do? What happens? You know, what made me go from that to where I am today, where I own Louisiana Gridiron Football? You know, there's a lot of steps involved. You know, joining the military, going to college, going to get, you know, seeking out, you know, these educational opportunities where I can learn from other people. You know, I've always made good about putting, you know, good people in my life to learn from. That's why I always come and ask you questions, always come and ask you questions, always come and ask you questions. You know, I'm gonna be asking you questions too, trust me. But that's the thing about defense, that's the thing about football, is that it teaches you how to get up, dust that sand off, and get back in the huddle, get back and ready to go again. You know, and as long as you keep going forward, you're gonna learn how to beat that offensive lineman. You're gonna learn how to beat life. You're gonna learn how to get that sack, because eventually, it's gonna give up. And you're gonna be the champion. That's what I love about football. That's what I love about coaching, you know, is teaching those young men how to do that. You know, if I died today, I'd be a very happy person, because I've done it. You know, I've seen it happen. I've seen these kids come up, and you guys are all citizens, you know, we've all talked, so we all have the same story. You see these guys, they're young, and they start growing, they mature, and by the time they're seniors, they're ready to go. You know, they know what it takes to be a champion. They know what it takes. You know, when I first started, it was about winning. It took me a little while, you know, that maturity thing, you know, to learn. It's about building the character. It's about building these guys up, about building the character up, and that the W's are gonna come. So that's just me.
Well, I agree. That's the way it is. I mean, your father out there, those guys, you watching them crawl, you watching them walk, you watching them take off on the full sprint. So that's what it's all about. So I know these guys are gonna do great this year. I know y'all gonna do a fine job, and I can't, you know, my heart is pouring with joy right now, because I never asked to be in this. You guys are just great guys, you know, at a young age. You know, of course, Marcus, I watch you, you know, with the Panthers, and Gore, same thing. You know, you two were playing together in the league, and Byron, I'm quite sure at a tender age, maybe about 8th grade, 7th, 8th grade, you know, running around. And now you guys are fostering your own kids and fathering your own kids, and taking that same thing over. And that's what it's all about. But, you know, it's not gonna be any secret to these guys' success. And I'm claiming that for you guys right now, because, you know, you guys are speaking the same language that you hear these championship coaches speak on television. But you have a community. Think about what it'll do for your community. And what do you think it'll do for your community to come out and start winning?
I think everybody will rally around us. I tell my kids all the time, look around, you know, trust your brothers. But if you notice, every day, we stay in an urbanized, we practice. The school is located in an urbanized community.
Right.
Well, every day, you got more and more people coming out that apartment complex, because they're hearing us doing our bingo jacks. They're seeing the kids working, and people gravitate towards positivity. So when they see young people doing something positive, they even reflect them in their own lives, regardless of the circumstances or what they did or didn't do. When they look back on their life, they know, hey, I wish I could have done this, or I should have did this. I believe having a strong belief in yourself is important, and that's hard to do, because you can say that, but you know, how do you just develop to have a strong belief in yourself? I've always had that. That doesn't mean these kids do.
Right.
You know, I teach them all the time, the desire to succeed has to be greater than the fear of failure. You know, you're gonna have a little apprehension, a little anxiety about failing, but you have to, you know, feel like I can do this. And when you have a community surrounding you that begins to believe in you and show you that, sky's the limit.
Yeah. I agree. I think those kids will get opportunity to become their own superstar. We call them neighborhood superstar, but that's the starting point. You know, when their own next door neighbors start to believe in them. You know, they start talking about it. I caught that ball like Byron Wade. I caught that ball like Corey. I threw it like Marcus Randall. You know, I tackled him like Andy did. You know, those things start to form. And I asked that question because I kind of knew the answer already, because, you know, you will bring that spark there. And man, can you imagine the type, well, I know you know, but the type of responsibility that you guys have. You know, I'm praying for you guys to be successful, get you some rest, you know, for your knowledge and everything. I know we quote from that book of that great Bible. We quote from a lot of different things, you know, hard work beat downtown, don't work hard. You know, a lot of kids don't hear that. You don't hear that because they didn't play Little League, or if they played Little League, they just weren't around the type of guys that spoke that type of language. And, you know, when you look around the city of Baton Rouge, all the winners, they're speaking the same thing. You know,
And the touch
Denny
base-
Wright, Coach Denny Wright, you know, Coach Nolan Gear, you know, all those guys were saying the same thing. I met guys like Butch Wax, and along the way up right here and Denham Springs a long way as I've gotten a little older. And we've talked about some things, and, but, you know, you guys, I've been to see your program, I watched your spring game on tape, I watched some of your spring game, and of course I was there at your spring game. The future looks very bright, you know, and I wish you guys all the best.
Appreciate it.
I really do.
Appreciate it.
Well, we're gonna finish it up tonight, and, I would like to go ahead and, you know, we're gonna award our two, players of the week. So our first one comes from Texas. You know, we are Louisiana Texas Gridiron Football. So I've got a film broke down here, coaches. I want you guys to tell me what you think of this running back. His name is Ty Collins from North Florida High School.
Oh, man.
Amazing will.
Bad.
This young man is 5'11", 210-pound running back.
John Cut.
How big is he again?
5'11",
Okay.
210 pounds.
Oh, yeah, he bowled him off.
Ty Collins from North Florida High School.
He wears his weight good, it's all in his hips and thighs.
So this is our player of the week for our Texas.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Pretty good kid, right?
Absolutely. Congratulations.
All right. So our next kid, I'm not trying to get any bonus points or anything, coach. I'm just gonna say,
Good job, man. Good job.
I'm just gonna say, you know,
Good job, man. Good job, man.
Capital High School, safety, wide receiver, quarterback, running back, athlete, Jacoby Balazar is our player of the week.
Hmm.
Jacoby had 3 touchdowns last week against a Class 4A school. Now, if nobody knows, Capital High School is a 2A school.
What school is that right there?
TCA.
Who's that coach?
You can't teach that speed.
Nah.
So I'd like to congratulate these two young men. We'll both be getting a certificate from us.
That's Lusher. That's Lusher High. I was at that game, yeah. So,
And he just scored 3 different ways.
Yeah.
Pick 6.
yeah.
He's starting to pick up a lot of Power 5 offers, so definitely you're gonna see this kid play at the next level. Don't be shocked if you see a Jackson State or a Grambling or, you know, a school like that get the mix as well, you know, with all things going on, you know. I love to see this kid in the Grambling uniform, just to be honest with you guys. Or either Southern, I mean, just playing football, just doing what he loves to do.
With Deion Sanders?
Yeah, I don't think that'd be bad.
You know, I did want to mention that. Thank you for bringing that up, Coach.
Yeah.
You know, you're Hall of Fame in the SWAC. You know, you talk about this. What is the future of the SWAC with Deion Sanders there?
Well, I think he certainly is going to make a lot of schools readjust. They're gonna do some more things to be attractive. You look at, he's promoting his own program right
That's
now. He is the face of the program right now. I think he's the face of the whole university right now. I think he came up with a nice, simple phrase, I believe. And if you look at the type of people that he knows and he had them to engage into his, I guess you would call it recruiting field, I believe. He's just gonna bring so much excitement to the SWAC, and I think it's a game changer. When you look at uniforms, I expect to see some flashy things they're gonna have, a lot of pageantry, the things that kids want to see. I mean, when you look at LSU, you're sleeping in pods in between classes, you know what I mean? It's just a bonus. You know, when I send my child off, I wanna know, you know, what does Memphis have to offer? What does LSU have to offer? What does Grambling have to offer? What does Southern have to offer? Those things are going to be important, but Deion is gonna be a game changer. From the uniforms on down, I think he's gonna start getting some of those four-star guys, a lot of 3-star kids.
Well, they already got a 5-star kid. I
You
think.
know, well, the kid from Jackson,
Yeah.
the kid from Jackson right there is going to the defensive back. I saw his interview. He said, I mean, you look at A lot of times, I mean, Coach Richardson used to tell us all the time, it's not who you, I mean, it's not what you know, it's who you know a lot of times and who you've been around and who you're affiliated with. That in itself, if I'm under Coach Prime, as he wants to be
Coach
called,
That's swagging it out right there.
for 4 years, you have to pick up a ton of knowledge at that defensive back position. He has his son Shakur. I saw him as a 9th grader at LSU football camp. He was throwing the ball like a senior then. So if you get that type of kid, I think you're gonna get a lot of kids from the Texas area that fall through the cracks. Because think about it, I mean, I think we have the best athlete, but they have a lot of numbers as well.
Right.
You know, 3-star kids. So game changer. Everyone else has to create some type of excitement now
You got to.
be able to get what he's going to be able to get, the type of kid.
Well, Alcorn State, and Grambling, and Southern's kind of been the big dogs for the last 3 or 4 years, you know?
They will be. They'll stay the big dog for a couple more years. I do believe that because their staples are full. You look at Alcorn, they're still getting recruits. I mean, they're still getting transfer guys, and then the transfer portal coming in right now. Receivers, quarterback, running back, defensive back. Kids nowadays just want to get an opportunity to play, and if they can find a program that they fit into immediately, and it's happening everywhere. It's not like you got to come from LSU and go down. But look at the kid from Nickel State. He's getting an opportunity at LSU right now. We spoke about him earlier.
You got Cox from North Dakota State.
North Dakota State.
He's now got a
Jabril.
pick 6 against with LSU last week.
A freak of nature, you know. So kids develop at their own stage, but I believe that Dion's going to be a game that to answer your question again. They're going to have to find some type of way to spruce up what they're doing. I don't know how. But it's going to be interesting. I can't wait.
Well, I lived this before, during the Doug Williams era at Grambling. I think this is the first coming of what Prime has done now. Doug came with the big persona, big name, but also was an alum of the school. So you saw the enrollment go up, you saw the sponsorship go up, you saw the donors donate at an all-time level, but you also saw players come from all over to make up that program. You see guys with talent level, Scotty Anderson, Tremont Douglas. You don't get those type of guys at Grambling every day. But with having a coach like Doug Williams, you can get those guys in that school. So, and that led to the 3 national championships that we have. You know, basically his star power of, and also what I've learned is assembling the right coaches. Like he went out and got coaches, and all those coaches did what Coach talked about earlier. They developed off that coaching tree, and all those coaches became head coaches. Heist Northern, Melvin Spears, Mike Roach, like all those coaches went on to do different things to add to the state and surrounding states. So just seeing that firsthand with the Doug Williams era at Grambling and seeing what Prime is going to do with his swagger and his connections to the NFL, just looking at a kid like Jacoby Belzar that's projected as an SEC starting corner. Now you get that fatherhood approach from being an inner city kid, and you go to get coached by a Coach Prime who can relate to you, and you know you get that NFL shot. I think this might take Jackson and all SWAC schools to another level or back to where it was once before. As you look at Bruce Eugene's quarterback, who's just #1 quarterback in New York, just committed to Grambling. Like, so you're seeing all these big moves being made with kids going to that level of football, and I think it might be back because, like Coach Randall touched on, kids just want to play. So if you know you're going to go somewhere, you're going to sit for 4 years, you know you can go somewhere and get an even bigger impact from your head coach and his relationships, you might want to take that offer to go to Jackson State now and go and be successful. I'm waiting to see what he's going to do with facilities and all the other things. You heard what he spoke about with the other coaches in other areas. I'm waiting to see how he let those coaches pick it back off his back to build the entire Jackson State. But I think it is about to be monumental what they're going to do, and they're about to make history of that.
Well, I want to thank you guys for joining us tonight. I know we're gonna be back again next week. I know you guys are gonna be back next week. Next week we'll have two new head coaches in here. We're trying this out, right, guys? You know, we're gonna see how we do.
Like, good food for thought in there, man. Good mind, good energy.
Right. So we look forward to you guys joining us again next week. We'll be on 7 o'clock next Tuesday night. We'll do this all season long and until you guys tell us to stop. Well, I don't really care if anybody tells me to stop, you know, that's why I own the business. So we'll be on here every week until football, until they say we can't play football no more. But make sure you guys join us. Also, you know, Football Magazine. I know you said look at it. There we go.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't have one for the table today. Make sure you guys go out and get your magazine. We have, last month we had Marcus and your team on the cover. This was last month we had, our 50th anniversary. Next month we have, well, hang on, I forgot. It's a good thing I don't do design the magazine. So, but I want you, if you guys can go out and order a magazine, and Leanne and Josh, make sure you put the links below. And thanks for joining us, guys.